Hey, you looking for more SCP goodness? Yeah, I figured. Seems to be what everyone's talking about lately. In fact, there's a demand for SCP content like never before. Does that seem natural to you? Sure, it's always been interesting and the writing seems to get better as time goes on, but why is there such a widespread, morbid fascination with these creepy, deadly anomalies? Could it be that the SCP Wiki has some cognitohazardous qualities? Like, the more you hear about the Foundation, the more you're compelled to learn more? And then the compulsion gets more and more intense until you can't do anything other than research deeper? And then soon enough you're squatting in an abandoned basement with no heating, pinning notes to the wall and connecting them with lengths of string? And then all of a sudden a bunch of people in tactical gear burst through the door and dose you with amnestics, and now you're sitting in an empty white room waiting for something but you're not sure what? Or maybe I'm looking too deeply into this. Maybe I should get some more sleep. Hello horror heads and welcome back to the scariest channel on YouTube, Top 5 Scary Videos. I'm your horror host, Keegan Hughes, and today we've got the latest and greatest in our longest SCP series to date, the Top 5 SCP Monsters That Can Never Escape, Part 8. Before we get started, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more SCP stuff. Also, take a look at some of our other SCP playlists if that tickles your fancy. Golden. Let's get going. Kicking us off at number 5, we have SCP-913. If you've plumbed the depths of the SCP tales, you probably stumbled across the name Dr. Wondertainment before. This enigmatic, anomalous Willy Wonka of the underground seems to enjoy creating strange toys to bring joys to girls and boys. Usually these playthings have odd qualities that really aren't suitable for use by children, but we'll ignore that for now. Wondertainment created a whole line of Little Misters brand people a while ago, all human, all anonymous. There are 20 in total, including one discontinued Mr. Red and number 0, Mr. Collector himself. Some are considered safe and don't really pose any threat as anything other than a human, while others are a little more unpredictable. SCP-913 or Mr. Hungry falls under the unpredictable descriptor. He's a middle-aged man with an extremely fast metabolism. So fast, in fact, that he requires the recommended daily caloric intake for a normal human his size once every 2 hours. If this caloric requirement is not met within the 120-minute time limit, Mr. Hungry will enter a trance state. While in this trance, he will break down and ingest any solid matter in sight. Literally everything, even stuff that would usually be indigestible like wood, plastic, and metal. To make matters worse, he will not distinguish between living subjects and other material. So yeah, he might just eat someone to calm his rumbling tummy. Mr. Hungry can rend objects with an estimated force of 3,000 newtons and has an estimated bite force of 5,000. For these reasons, the Foundation has elected to keep him in a reinforced steel cell, constantly being fed nutritive slurry through a catheter. If he got out and got hungry, there's no telling what he might eat. Coming in at number 4, SCP-909. Just to stay on the Dr. Wondertainment train of thought for a little while longer, we'll take a look at another one of the more dangerous little misters. 909 is Mr. Forgetful, who may or may not have been created to cover the good doctor's tracks in case of trouble. It's a young adult male who seems to be suffering from permanent anterograde amnesia. He's vaguely aware of his condition, but doesn't remember anything aside from memories that he's developed through the anomalous qualities that he has. If you were to interrupt Mr. Forgetful mid-sentence, he would likely just revert to a confused state, being unable to remember where he is, what he was doing, or how he got there. The anomalous properties stemming from this are quite interesting though, and have wide-reaching implications if he were to ever escape custody with an individual who is a little wrong-minded. Any experience that 909 describes through writing will immediately enter his long-term memory. However, this experience will also disappear from the memories of all other individuals involved. So hypothetically, he could hoard all sorts of information and keep it from everyone else who might have experienced what he's thinking about. Imagine if a malicious person had him erase memories of theft, murder, terrorism, or treason. The world could quickly go to shit and no one would even realize. Not the kind of power you want out and about in the world. Oh, and as a side note, just in case you were wondering, 909 is very allergic to peanuts. Keep an EpiPen close by if you're with him. Coming in at number 3, we have SCP-2009. This is a mutation-causing mushroom spore. It makes people into other people and then turns them into reproductive machines. Get your mind out of the gutter, not like that. So there are 2 different stages in the 2009 life cycle. There's 2009-01 and 2009-02. 01 is the designation for all instances of an anomalous male humanoid capable of asexual reproduction by means of spores. So it's a bunch of mushroom clones named Thomas Huang. Each instance is 100% genetically identical to the next, and each is fully sapient. None of the Thomases seem to know that they're anomalous, and they all share the same memories from childhood up until early adulthood, living in the community of Pollinsby, California. Although no such community or people like Thomas have ever been found to exist outside of this context. So the Thomases will walk around living their lives wherever they've spawned until they find conditions that are suitable for them to begin reproduction. When the temperature and humidity are just right, instances of 2009-01 will seek out a dark, high-up area with plenty of nearby foot traffic. Then they'll anchor themselves to nearby structures and begin producing 2009-02 spores until they die of exhaustion. Imagine stumbling across one of these humanoid mushroom men, absolutely hollowed out through their own efforts. Oof, just being a janitor sweeping along and you find a corpse, an empty corpse named Thomas. The spores then float off and infect humans who are unfortunate enough to breathe them in. Within 3 to 4 days, those infected will become nauseous, lethargic, and sensitive to light, and by the 8th day their physiology will have totally changed to match that of the other Thomases. The folks will notice along the way that their body is changing and become very distressed. I mean, you would too if you suddenly began to metamorphosize into a 20-something man named Thomas. Once the transformation is complete, it will 100% match 2009-01 and will exhibit no knowledge of their lives beforehand. Then they will live their newly Thomas life until it's time to make more spores. The Foundation has actually burned towns entirely to the ground for housing instances of 2009. It's just that infectious. Filling out our number 2 slot, SCP-457 Flame on. 457 appears to be a sentient being composed of flame, but its actual composition is unknown. It's shaped out by the flames that it produces and will often assume a humanoid form if given sufficient fuel. At its very smallest, 457 will appear to be a single tiny matchstick-sized flame, but as it grows, it gains the ability to assume some more complex shapes. Also, its intelligence grows with size and fuel sources. It can even communicate once it hits a certain size, either by scorching letters onto surfaces or by using a series of crackles and pops to speak. If 457 reaches a certain size, it will split into 2 beings, and if they grow large enough, they will split off as well, and so on and so forth. These instances are actually very aggressive towards each other and will try to consume or extinguish their doubles in order to keep available fuel for themselves. 457's goal seems to be just to acquire larger sources of fuel and to spread, which is simple enough considering it's fire. However, its intelligence and size grow, and with that it becomes more dangerous. It has been seen sabotaging sprinkler systems and setting up complex traps in attempts to escape. Multiple wildfires have been attributed to it, and you can be sure that if it were to find its way into a densely populated zone, there would be lots of bodies burning. Crispy. And finally at number 1 we have SCP-035. Imagine if the mask was even more dangerous, somehow. Okay, so 035 doesn't have cartoonish properties, but it is wildly deadly and destructive. This skip is a white porcelain comedy mask that will sometimes change to tragedy. If it changes, all existing visual records will automatically change to reflect its updated appearance. If you stay on its wiki page long enough, you'll notice the difference. Trust me. The mask is constantly leaking a corrosive and degenerative liquid from its eye and mouth holes. Spit and tears, this stuff is not. This liquid will decay anything and everything that comes in contact with it, and eventually the materials will melt completely into a pool of the original contaminant. Glass reacts the slowest, which is why the Foundation keeps it rotating between many airtight glass cases. Living organisms who come in contact with the goop will be melted down to nothing with no chance of recovery. This includes you, so do not touch it. Folks within a couple meters or in visual contact of the mask will experience a strong urge to put it on. This is a bad idea. Anyone who puts on the mask will experience brain death and then become possessed by the consciousness contained within. In fact, any humanoid shaped object at all with the mask will become possessed. This includes mannequins, corpses, and even statues. However, anything that the mask does possess will degenerate very quickly and eventually become mummified. Conversations with 035 have actually been quite fruitful, and it has provided knowledge about other SCP objects and history in general. The consciousness claims to have been present during many historic events. It is intelligent, charismatic, and flattering to anyone who speaks with it. However, it is highly manipulative, and even being near the mask without putting it on can cause sudden and profound changes to someone's psychological state. It will often prompt folks to commit suicide while transforming others into mindless servants. This has led to plenty of escape attempts, resulting in the Foundation limiting all interactions with 035. Now, 035 will fill its containment cells with blackened, contaminated human blood and meddles with all sorts of containment measures, including damaging locks, preventing electronic devices from functioning, and degrading the walls. Obviously, it's not happy that it's been left alone in there. Let's hope that they can keep relocating it, just over and over again. Another 5 SCPs into the top 5 scary archives. What did you think? Which one of the 5s is the scariest to you? Are there any other monsters we haven't talked about yet that should be discussed on the channel? Make sure to let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's have a look at some of your more erroneous ones from our top 5 scariest horror movies of the decade. Ethan Willis says, the second time Keegan did the clap, it immediately went to an ad. Spooky. I have powers. Fear me. Isaac Bloomer says, I'm shipping out overseas, please wish me luck, and I absolutely love your videos. Good luck out there, homie. Stay safe. Harley Beckstrom says, happy new decade. I am turning 10 this year. Holy smokes, you're barely as old as some of the movies we talked about. Welcome to the new decade. Cordoro says, can you do another one of these because there were so many good ones? You are damn right that there were so many good ones. It's hard to even pick the top 50 to be honest. I think a part 2 might be in the cards, but I'm no fortune teller. And Arm Gears says, Keegan, you didn't disappoint with this list at all. Thank you. I try my best not to disappoint, although maybe in the future I'll make some disappointing on purpose content just to see what happens. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.